Welcome back to the Round Sound Mind podcast. I'm your host, JT. Today's episode is going to be about responding to evil. Now, a little bit over a month since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and you have no doubt seen the reactions of many people on the left, in media, Hollywood included, as well as the online rabble on social media, commenting on his assassination, his murder. If you're like me, you were hit with a certain rage when you see how certain people react and how gleeful they are and joyous they are over a man's death and over the fact that his wife is now a widow and the fact that his two children are fatherless. So that's not a bad thing if you are filled with anger when you see these malevolent people acting the way they are. And let me just say, the way they're reacting is an indication of what their character is, right? How evil these people are. There's one thing about the murderer who assassinated Charlie. It's another thing entirely also to take joy in the fact that someone died. But beyond all the emotions that I felt, that maybe you feel, and these people, the way they've responded, I have to process this, and that's why it's called Random Sound Mind, right? I've got to process these feelings and what I think. So today I'm going to share with you my thoughts on this response to these evil, wicked reactions that you have seen and continue to see, by the way, from interrupting vigils to people actually targeting other conservatives since his assassination. Number one, evil does not make sense to someone who has a solid moral base, to someone who lives by a noble set of values, as I said in a prior episode. There's other kinds of evil that you've heard about, no doubt, and you see out there in the world. You've got a family member molesting a child. You've got cartels selling kids into slavery. You've got someone being killed because someone cut him off in traffic and he loses his temper. You've seen stories of fans at visiting stadiums getting beaten to a pulp in the parking lot simply because they root for the other team. And if you're going, none of this makes sense, well, you're right. It doesn't make sense if you have a moral base. Only does it make sense to you, this kind of evil that we see out there, if you don't have a moral base. So if you go, this is crazy, why are people acting this way? Well, remember, if they don't have a solid moral base, then what they condone in wanting the death of other conservatives, of being gleeful over Charlie's assassination, is because they don't have a base. So their logic is not your logic. So just take that, you're not crazy, they are. The second thing that I did in thinking about this is that evil operates in a world of lies, not truth, right? So the shooter, who I refused to say his name, and all those on the left that are so gleeful that Charlie is dead, they've been radicalized by lies. And that is radicalization, isn't it? It is, you have your foundation now become lies. What you think is the truth is indeed lies. You know, and some of those lies about Charlie continue to be spouted, like Charlie's racist, he's sexist, he hated gays, he was anti-trans, he was, of course, a Nazi fascist Hitler type. So these people who are acting wickedly and cooperating with evil, whether it's social media or big media, truths are abhorrent to them. Remember that. And the truths are despised by liars. They cannot exist together. So, yes, it's my hope that some of the truths will impact some of these people and that those truths become their new foundation and not lies, but I'm not going to hold my breath. And just remember, at least for me, to think about this is that lies of these people acting wickedly in various ways are the foundation of their very existence. The third thing I thought about is that evil opposes goodness. And by proxy, anybody who stands for goodness. The irony is they think that they are the good ones, that they are the ones operating by a noble set of values. And my contention is that if these people really took an honest look at themselves, they would be open to some of the things that Charlie and other people like myself and many others uphold as good moral values. And when they open themselves up and take that in, what happens? They feel they feel a intense sense of accountability. And a lot of people don't want to be accountable to someone greater than themselves. They have become the arbiter of their own moral universe. And no one on the left, I don't think, really wants that disrupted. And another reason is I think many of these people abhor goodness because goodness comes from the main source for some of us, and that's the triune God, right? The Holy Trinity. And the Holy Trinity has holy standards which might butt up against what you believe and what you practice. And none of us are perfect, of course. I'm certainly not. I'm not at all. But I think that's part of that accountability of why people oppose goodness and people who stand for it is that they have to answer to someone else. And if they have to answer to the Christian God, then that's going to reshape how they think, how they live, how they speak. And like I said, people don't want to give up the world that they operate when they're operating by the God of self. These people don't want to hear how men cannot become women, women cannot become men, children should not be given puberty blockers and castrated. And some of them don't want to hear, of course, that big government sucks and that government is not our God. The fourth thing that I thought in processing this evil and these evil responses is that evil is motivated, is driven by hatred and harm, not love and mercy, right? Makes sense? And some of these people that you see who are still so gleeful, or you've seen on social media, or like I said, regular media, and they're so happy and they're glad Charlie's dead. They want President Trump to die. They want other conservatives. These are some of these people. They think they're loving because they love their close circle of friends. They love their dog. They love maybe their family, their little community groups. But they hate some of these other people who oppose them ideologically or politically. And, this shooter supposedly sent loving, I put that in quotes, loving messages to his gay, furry roommate who was transitioning. Sorry to break it to you, but if your roommate's male and you're male, you're just gay. Um, but we know he hated Charlie. We know that it was full of hatred. We've seen some of the text messages, but we saw the bullets. We saw these pro-trans Tifa, these different things from symbols to words to references to songs on the bullets that were found. And once this shooter allowed evil to permeate his mind, then hatred fueled his heart, and then his hands committed the ultimate harm in taking Charlie's life. And those who celebrate this, as well as wish for the death of others, are just full of hate, and they wish entire harm. Look how people wish harm on others who are on the right or who are Christian. There is no love, there is no mercy. The fifth and final thing I did in processing this is that evil is active and aggressive, not passive and peaceful. Think about it. When does evil stop on its own? You ever thought about that? The rise of Islam for the first 1,000 plus years, they were not stopped until other nations rose up with armies to stop them. Think about serial killers. The very name serial means they're going to keep going until they're caught, killed, stopped, whatever. What about thieves, robbers, pedophiles? This evil will keep going. It's active, it's aggressive. It's not going to stop on its own. I would just say everyone who operates with these kind of evil motives and this evil intent, like so many on the left, they really want, whether they know it or not, evil to be spread aggressively and the means of such be damned. That's the only way we can make sense the fact that it is evil when they want others to die. But in contrast, people who want good, they want goodness to spread. They operate, like I said, by a noble set of moral values. But we don't do it by threats of coercion or threats of force or bullying. I think people who want goodness want it to spread, yes. But how? By persuasion, by reason, by evidence, by charm even, and by kind actions. And I hope you see the difference. Let me give a pro tip out there when you think about evil and goodness. If people are calling evil good, then that is a huge clue into their character. And the times we live in, I think that's something we should think about as well. Okay, let me do a quick recap of the 5 things that I processed in looking at people, how they responded so wickedly and with such evil towards the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Number 1, evil does not make sense to those of us with a noble set of moral values, especially those of the Christian ethic. Number 2, evil operates in a world of lies, not truth. Number 3, evil despises goodness, and by proxy, those people who stand for goodness. Number 4, evil is fueled by hatred and harm, not love and mercy. And finally, evil is active and aggressive, not passive and peaceful.
Young Democrats of America, they're in our colleges. They are part of the left, and it's a problem.
As a registered Democrat, all I have to say is the Charlie Kirk shooting just proves that we are the worst, man. My party is the worst.
This was the day that I decided I'm never voting Democrat again. I cannot stand with you people anymore. Although there's a lot of people on the right that I disagree with, looking at your comments, gross.
I was following him, and then I just think about his wife and his kids.
He was open to conversations, but people that are afraid to get in those kind of situations resort to something worse.
This is an attack on freedom of speech, no matter how you look at it, whether you like Charlie, you didn't like Charlie.
You guys keep asking me, oh, what changed? Oh, well, you used to be so apolitical, and now this. Because of this behavior from the left. They say you're hateful while they display the hate. They call you a Nazi, well, they're the ones who are acting like Nazis.
The point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before you got shot.
And until next time, stay alert, stand firm, show courage, and be sound.